A federal judge says Columbus police ran amok last year when responding to demonstrations against racial injustice. And now he's ordering the city and its police force to change tactics. Good Friday evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here at NBC4 at 5. I'm Darlene Hill.
And I'm Brad Johansson, the Chief Judge for the Southern District of Ohio. Algernon Marbley, he says that there is a mountain of evidence that peaceful protesters were improperly targeted while trying to obey police orders and leave the area. Colleen Marshall got the exclusive access to some of the video used in this case. We saw this earlier this week. She joins us now with a first report on this decision. What's it mean? Well,
I remember the two of you were startled by some of the evidence that we got that had been presented in court. Now, this is an 88-page opinion and order in which Judge Marbley bans police from using force against peaceful protesters, including tear gas, pepper spray, wooden bullets, and causing any pain or punishment to deter nonviolent demonstrators. It's a vindication for the 26 plaintiffs in this case. Each of their claims was reviewed and detailed in the opinion, but I want to draw your attention to one woman, Alita Mixon, whose encounter with police we showed you earlier this week.
I just want to find my daughter. No, ma'am, I don't think all officers are bad. No, listen, please.
Alita Mixon testified that she went to police for help finding her daughter. Instead of help, she got pepper spray, outraging a bystander.
This lady has done nothing. This lady has done nothing. They have done nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong! They did nothing wrong!
Apparently, Judge Marbley was also outraged. He devotes nearly 5 pages of his order to what happened to Alita Mixon, calling it an awful tale, writing, "The second spraying was painful, her eyes burned, and her vision blurred. She was unable to continue her search for her daughter. She sat down on the sidewalk between High Street and 3rd Street, screaming for help. She discerned 2 officers were walking towards her in riot gear. She hoped help was on the way at last. Instead, CPD officers sprayed her again, now for the 3rd time. Mixon was shoved to the ground, and an officer stepped on her kneecap. She had emergency surgery and a 5-day stay at the hospital. The judge says evidence in this case points toward the department's reflexive reliance on pepper spray and cites testimony and video evidence we showed you. Bicycle officers arrived to actually push and physically move people to the side to allow more officers to come in. And then there was another mass spraying of pepper spray into the protesters' faces. All of it leading to Judge Marbley's order banning using force on those who are not threatening physical harm or the destruction of property. An important part of the order is that even in riot gear, officers must now clearly display their name tags and badge numbers, and body cam and cruiser cameras must be in working order and turned on. NBC4's Jamie Ostroff has been getting reaction from both sides of this case. So, Jamie, what are you hearing about all of this?
Well, Colleen, one of the plaintiff's attorneys described today's decision, as you mentioned, as sort of a vindication for the protesters who said they were unjustly harmed by police. Attorneys for the city argued they had done enough to address these use of force issues, but Mayor Andrew Ginther says he accepts the judge's order.
We are extremely pleased with this outcome.
Attorney Sean Walton says a federal court order barring Columbus police from using force against nonviolent protesters is a clear sign that people are being heard. 88 pages detailing a victory for 26 protesters who say they were harmed by police officers last summer.
There were many people that did not believe the claims of the plaintiffs in this matter.
But Walton says videos like this one used as evidence in the ongoing case.
This is overwhelming. So our hope is that through these stories being told and believed, that the city will be able to heal.
Attorneys for the city argued a court order would be moot because the police department had changed its crowd control policies since the protests.
Yes, on paper they have all of these policies, but the reality is that they do not follow these policies.
Mayor Andrew Ginther wasn't available for an interview today, but he mentioned those policy changes in a statement. Last summer, the city was faced with extraordinary circumstances not seen in more than 2 decades. Today's ruling tells us we fell short in our response, the mayor wrote. We have already implemented changes that addressed most, if not all, of the orders in the court's decision so that residents can feel safe in expressing their First Amendment rights in a nonviolent way. Ginther said those changes were evident during more recent protests, including those that followed the deadly police shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant last week. The Fraternal Order of Police declined to make an official comment today, but one vice president told me over the phone that they will comply with any court order. Local for you, Jamie Ostroff, NBC4.